All right, hold up. Before we even touch the drama, y'all need to really understand who Keyshia Ka'oir is, because a lot of people be sleeping on her, and that's a huge mistake. Most folks just label her as Gucci Mane's wife and stop right there. No research, no deeper look, and listen to this. If you don't know her full story, you won't understand why this situation hits way different. This ain't just some rapper's wife standing pretty in the background at events. She was born Kesha Watson in Jamaica and built a multi-million-dollar empire from the ground up, no shortcuts. We talking Ka'oir cosmetics, fitness, hair, and even a designer resale platform she runs with Gucci. By 2017, just 7 years in, her businesses were already valued at $30 million. Yeah, let that sink in. No industry backing, no famous last name at the start, just straight hustle and smart moves. And get this, her whole cosmetic line started because she couldn't find a blue lipstick she liked, so she made her own. People doubted her, said she'd get clowned, but she ignored all that and turned it into a brand celebrities actually wear. Big names have rocked her products, real endorsements, not just hype. Now here's where it gets interesting. She met Gucci back in 2010 after he spotted her in XXL, and he was instantly hooked. But hold up, she didn't just fall into his arms, she made him work for it and was hesitant at first. That alone tells you she moved strategic, not emotional. She stayed solid through his legal issues, prison time, and all the chaos that comes with his lifestyle. Then in 2017, they locked it in with a $1.7 million Miami wedding that even turned into a BET special. They've got 2 kids now, built a family, and she's been there through his lowest moments, not just the highs. Now listen close, because this is where things get deep. Gucci, one of the pioneers of trap music, has been battling serious mental health issues behind the scenes. In his 2025 autobiography, he revealed diagnoses of bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, which a lot of people didn't even realize. And while he's building empires and shaping culture, he's also fighting those battles daily. So when things get bad, guess who steps in? Keyshia. She literally takes control, deletes his social media, locks him out, even changes passwords just to protect him from the public eye. Some people call that real love, others say it's too controlling, but either way, it's powerful. And here's the key point. If she's controlling what he posts during his weakest moments, imagine the influence she has when someone disrespects him. Because on January 10th, 2026, something happened that shook everything. To really understand it, you got to go back to his relationship with Pooh Shiesty, because this wasn't just business, it was supposed to be family. Gucci signed him in 2020 when he was an up-and-coming Memphis artist with real buzz. He saw the potential early, just like he's done with legends before. And he didn't just sign him, he invested in him, gave him a custom Trackhawk, supported his music, pushed his career. Pooh Shiesty blew up, charted high, showed love back publicly, calling Gucci his big homie. Everything looked solid on the outside, but behind the scenes, things were different. Pooh Shiesty caught a 63-month federal sentence, did his time, and Gucci still kept his spot open at 1017. That's loyalty. When he got out in October 2025, he had a fresh start, full support, and the culture watching. But listen to this. Apparently, he had a different plan. And that plan started by bringing Gucci out to Dallas. This is where it gets serious, so lock in. January 10th, 2026, a studio in Dallas. Would look like a normal business meeting invite. Nothing suspicious, just industry talk, contracts, usual stuff. So Gucci and his team got on that plane. They hopped on a plane to Dallas thinking it was strictly business. Nobody in that crew had even the slightest clue what was actually waiting for them behind those studio doors. According to the Department of Justice, Pooh Shiesty personally engineered this entire meeting from scratch. He picked the location, he set the time, he handpicked every single person in that room. And according to federal prosecutors, the whole thing was a trap, designed, planned, and executed before anybody ever landed in Texas. Because the moment those 3 men stepped inside that studio and those doors shut behind them, Pooh Shiesty and 8 co-conspirators, several of whom had made a special trip down from Memphis, Tennessee specifically for this moment, carried out what prosecutors called a coordinated armed takeover. Let me break this down step by step because every single detail here matters. Pooh requested a private one-on-one with the label owner. Nothing unusual about that on the surface. Just a quick pull-aside, a closed-door conversation between artist and executive. Gucci walked into that recording room expecting a business discussion and instead found Pooh's father, Lantrell Williams Sr., and rapper Big 30, real name Rodney Wright Jr., already inside waiting. Right away, it's 3 against 1 in a locked room, and that's when things shifted fast. Pooh then pulled out contract termination paperwork right there on the spot, demanding Gucci sign him off the 2017 records roster immediately. On the scene, no lawyers, no negotiation. Gucci said no. Words flew, the tension escalated, and then, hold up, Pooh Shiesty pulled out an AK-style pistol on the man who signed him, on the man who bought him a 6-figure Jeep, on the man who kept his record deal breathing while he was sitting in a federal prison cell. He pressed that weapon on Gucci Mane and forced him to sign his own release paperwork at gunpoint. And after Gucci put his signature on that paper under the barrel of a gun, Pooh Shiesty stripped him, took the wedding ring off his finger, snatched the watch off his wrist, pulled his earrings, grabbed his cash, cleaned him completely right there in that room. And while all of that was happening in the back, the other 8 co-conspirators had the other 2 victims pinned out front at gunpoint, robbing them simultaneously. One of Gucci's people was choked so violently he nearly lost consciousness. One of the defendants physically planted himself in front of the studio exit to make sure nobody could escape or call for help. This wasn't a dispute, fam. This was a full-scale hostage situation inside a Dallas recording studio. And while all of this was allegedly going down, Keyshia Ka'oir was on Instagram promoting her body cleanse products, completely unaware that her husband had a weapon to his head. Not a single clue. Imagine being that woman and piecing together later what went down while you were posting wellness content. Now here's where people started really locking in, because this is where the story stops being just wild and starts becoming absolutely fascinating from a strategic standpoint. January 10th came and went, and at first, Gucci said absolutely nothing publicly. Robbery rumors started bubbling up online, and Gucci actually posted a photo flexing his jewelry and his pack like everything was perfectly fine. Most people in the comments read it as him calling cap on the rumors, and the internet largely moved on. But the feds, they were not moving anywhere, because Pooh Shiesty made one catastrophic and unforgivable mistake on top of everything else he allegedly did. Actually, he made several. He was on home confinement at the exact time this robbery allegedly went down. He had a federal ankle monitor strapped to his leg. The terms of his release explicitly prohibited him from committing another federal offense or possessing any firearm. Conditions put in place just 3 months after he walked out of prison. 6 months. His attorney, Bradford Cohen, came out with a statement citing inconsistencies in the indictment and promising to address everything at future hearings, which is the standard legal chess move, understood. But the evidence the feds are sitting on, GPS data, ankle monitor logs, surveillance footage, cell phone records, social media activity, including posts from Pooh Shiesty himself and his father right around that same window of time. And then there's the detail that really locked the case in. Surveillance footage of one of the defendants leaving the building and coming back with a duffel bag. That same duffel bag prosecutors say contained the AK-47 used in the robbery. Brick by brick, layer by layer, a federal case being stacked with precision. Now here's where the Keyshia angle becomes the most important part of this entire story, fam. Because when a woman like Keyshia Ka'oir, a woman who has been managing, shielding, and making high-level executive decisions about Gucci's life and career for years, finds out that somebody they trusted put a gun to her husband's head and ripped the wedding ring right off his finger, you already know she did not take that quietly. The streets are saying she pushed hard for full cooperation with the federal investigation. The streets are saying she was the energy behind making sure this situation did not get swept under the rug, the way so many incidents in hip-hop mysteriously tend to disappear. Because this wasn't just an attack on Gucci the rapper, this was a direct attack on their family, their business empire, and everything she personally helped construct from the ground up. Full stop. But wait, you won't believe this next part, because right when the federal pressure started closing in on Pooh and his crew, the internet did exactly what the internet always does and went digging. And what they surfaced was an old Instagram live clip of Gucci Mane that is almost too ironic to even be real.
In the resurfaced footage, Gucci is clearly on his anti-cooperation energy, talking about how if something pops off, he handles it in-house. No outside involvement, not even law enforcement. The clip spread like wildfire within hours of the Pooh Shiesty arrest news dropping, and the internet largely moved on. But look, I understand why people saw a contradiction on the surface. The same guy who said he wasn't calling anybody is now at the center of a DOJ press conference, while a U.S. attorney stands at a podium breaking down armed takeovers and kidnapping charges. But here's what I actually need y'all to sit with for a second. There is a massive difference between a street-level disagreement and somebody jamming an AK to your skull, stripping your wedding ring, choking your people unconscious, and forcing your signature on a legal document under duress. That is not a beef. That is a federal crime committed against you in broad terms. Those are two entirely different categories, and most real and honest people already understand that distinction. And I cannot stress this